Oh, you're just gonna pick up from there.
What's that?
You're just picking up from there.
Yeah,
Sweet. That's cool.
All right, your mic on?
Check.
Yeah.
Mine's on.
Yeah. All right, we should be good. What's up, fellas?
What up, homie?
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Got a special guest.
Yeah, special guest tonight. Big Jonny Weber.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate having me.
Tomato Cans finally getting on the show.
Yep. Been a long time coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think he blew us off a couple times already.
Yeah, three.
He tried, man. He tried. He was just waiting for our followers to get up. We just we weren't high enough on the followers list. I mean, we got to get it wet before Johnny gets in there.
That's right.
You know
He likes it slippery.
He just slides right in. It's like wrist locking a kid to Johnny.
Hey, 16-year-old is adult. He was a blue belt.
That's consent in some states, right? All right, Johnny. Well, welcome to Tomato Cans. We've trained with Johnny for what? It's been 6 years, I guess, basically since the beginning. Only guy I know that wrist locks kids, but you're damn good at it.
They'll never get wrist locked again.
Man, the wrist locker. This is the guy right here.
That's how he perfected the technique.
I did it one time.
time.
On accident, setting up an arm bar. And I had to embrace it.
Yep. That's like your go-to though. I mean, in the gym, that and arm bars, right?
I mean, I've been doing the baseball choke.
Yeah.
Lapel baseball choke more so, but that's my favorite. But arm bars are what I used to do, but I still go back to it.
What time are you training at when you train?
Probably once a month, twice a month. No, I go anytime I can.
Right.
Just working but I like mornings because it gets it going, but probably 4 o'clock's the best.
Yeah.
That way you still
Yeah, I
have
like that
family
4
time
o'clock
at night.
class.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
It's getting huge too, man.
It is.
Yeah.
One time I went, it was like 30 people in there.
Yeah.
And then you mix in the kids and shit too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a busy
man.
class. I like it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been a while since I've hit that 4 o'clock class. 4 o'clock class. 4 o'clock class.
Click clack.
Click clack. Clickety
It's
clack.
definitely my favorite just because of the time of day, how I'm feeling. And then you still get home and you can hang out with the family and stuff like that.
Man, I tell you what, like we've been doing the 6:30 one for a while now, and
AM.
Yeah. And that was it took me a while to get used to that at first, but now it's like getting up at 5:30. Like I find myself now anticipating getting up at 5:30 where I used to like I would hate it, now it's like okay.
It's what you do.
Yeah, now it's become a part. It's just what I do now, you know what I mean? But
that's good. I
think we're about to open up our group, so we're just going to start doing more than just the small isolated training group we've been doing.
I think that'd be great because that's honestly like my goal, and I'll be straightforward. I hate waking up in the morning. I hate getting up and doing stuff. I wake up early, but I just lay there. And I think that's the hardest thing is just making that step to get out.
Right.
It always feels good to do that too. I don't know why I don't do it more often, but it sucks.
Hey man, if you ever want to train at 6:30 in the morning, we got a group. It
would be good.
It's supposed to. I think it's going to become a class too.
Is it?
Yeah.
How many guys go?
We just have 6 right now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean it's B, Dre, Will, Brandon will jump in occasionally.
Avianto?
Yeah, he's jumped in with us occasionally. Then we have white belt Brian Emmerich.
Yeah.
And
blue belt, you mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, not yet.
Not yet, but
he'll get his blue belt after he beats Wes in the super fight.
That'd be fun.
I don't know if you've heard about that.
Oh really?
Oh, it's happening.
Oh, what is that?
Don't tell nobody, but
ooh, that's good.
We're getting a super fight going.
That's good. I'm in.
And Wes doesn't know it either. Wes doesn't know it either. I like to roll
with Wes. He's freaking good.
Yeah,
Wes came in the other day. He came in with Professor Logan's group. They did their class before us, and their eyes crossed.
It was like the first time they crossed paths, and Wes has, dude. So like full disclosure, Wes has no fucking idea what's going on with it. So we keep hyping it up, especially to Brian. And it was like Wes was in there and Brian's in there. It was like Brian's like, there's Wes. You know what I mean? It was like dun dun
So he
dun.
knows, but Wes is like,
Yeah, Wes he's oblivious to this whole idea.
I love
but
it.
we've been prepping it up, like trying to get side bets. I got money on my boy Brian.
I'd like a little tournament with them and Blake as well.
Yeah, dude, Blake's been around for a long time, man.
He's solid.
Yeah,
He
I
likes
haven't
it,
rolled
yeah.
against him in a long time.
He's good at like any position. He'll get out of any position and go to his position that he wants.
Really?
But yeah, he's just scrappy.
Nice.
He's good. But
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I used to roll with him in the mornings a lot. I mean, he got his blue belt now, right? So
Yeah.
he's put in the time and stuff, but yeah, I haven't rolled with Blake in a long time.
yeah.
The other Blake though, Barth, man, that's another guy that
I hate rolling with Barth, man. He's so lanky and shit.
Blake Barth.
Yeah. Purple belt.
purple belt Barth.
Professor
Oh,
something?
Blake, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The other Blake,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. And he's got massive hands
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you go for a straight ankle or something like that, and his calves or his ankles are just solid, something like that.
And his legs like wrap around twice.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
length and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's a big guy though, man. I miss
Yeah.
that guy. I haven't seen him in a long
yeah,
time.
me neither. All those government workers,
Yeah.
too much going on.
Dude, this whole fucking thing, it seems to be winding down though a little bit, right? Things seem to be getting closer to normal with COVID. I guess now even I heard today Johnson & Johnson.
What's COVID?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Right.
Instead of you know how the old saying goes or whatever for like a business or something like that or a group or a gym, you don't want anybody bringing like being a cancer to the gym or a cancer to your job or anything like that. I don't like that because that's something that, whatever. Everybody hates COVID too.
Right.
Don't bring that COVID around here.
Right.
Like
It's
Don't be
fake
bringing
news.
in
I think that's a
Fake news.
new thing. Yeah.
Right.
It's all fake news.
Kung flu.
Incredible fake news. Yeah, I don't know.
China virus.
It's a weird freaking thing, though.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I mean, I definitely know that it's a real thing, of course, but it's just like, can you please just leave? You've been here long enough. Like, let's get on with this. And but obviously, we got to be safe and protect our families and stuff like that. And but I just want it to go away.
Well, with your business, right? I mean, you're in close contact with people, and I mean, you're around people all the time, right?
Yeah.
So is that something that, I mean, I know we've talked off air and off camera, but that's something that you're not like super worried about it. In fact, you've kind of encouraged, like saying that you want to just get it over with, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a couple things with that. Obviously, I wouldn't want my grandfather to try and go get it. I'm not saying my personal thinking on it is not like the chickenpox type deal. But myself, I feel like if I'm going to get something, or if it's most likely going to get to everybody, which is what is going on. It's just not necessarily everybody's gotten it, but you can stay inside and do nothing and never go outside. You can never touch anybody and you'll still get it.
Right.
We've had people that we've gone out and tested, and they have COVID and they never left their house. They literally were so scared of it and they were fine, but they had it.
Right.
They couldn't taste anything. They couldn't smell anything. And then we go and we test them. One of our nurses would go and test them, and they'd have it and they'd be like, what the heck? How did I get it? There's so many things. Like if you're in contact with anybody, you go to the grocery store, it's like one of the worst things to go to.
Right.
If you go to the hospital, it's even worse.
Yeah.
But obviously it's a real thing. I don't discredit it at all. I don't downplay it. I don't think it's something to be taken lightly. But at the same time, myself, I feel like I'm okay. I'm not going to try and spread it to everybody.
Right.
But if I got it, I just think that I need to get it over with in my mind, because I don't want to live in that fear-based part of it.
Right.
Because if you're going to delay it, I'm going to enjoy myself and with my family, with my friends and family and stuff like that. And if I do get it, because there's young people that die from it all the time. It doesn't matter if you're whatever, perfect health, you could get it. It's just random.
Right.
So I don't know.
Have you had an antibody test done at all?
I have.
Yeah.
And I don't have them.
And you don't have the antibodies.
Which it can't last forever. So
right.
if I was correct in thinking, because there weren't tests in February of 2020, that's when I feel I got it, but I'm not positive. But my lungs were affected. I had a high fever. I was hallucinating. You can lose your sense of smell and taste with the flu. So you can do that. It's less common and it's not all over the media and people talking about it so much, but it's still like that. So I don't remember if I totally lost my sense of smell or taste, but I feel like I got it because I haven't gotten it once, and I've gone traveling, gone to Texas multiple times, Colorado. I've had to go for business and stuff like that. And then I've tested a ton of people that have been, have gotten COVID and things like that. Could have had it, maybe not. Who knows? I think it's completely random.
Right. Well, and to give you a plug really fast, so you own a company, Mobile IV Nurses.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk a little bit more about that, but I do want to say, even with our experience, my family experience with all this bullshit, Kimberly got the test from you guys, and that first one was negative, but she was showing the symptoms, and then it was 2 days or 3 days later that we retested again, and it came back positive, and even that, it's kind of that same thing. Like, I was surprised I didn't get it being around her that whole time, and I mean, like you were saying, I was trying to stay kind of close to her and stuff, and even at first we thought, well, you got tested, you obviously don't have it, but the symptoms were still there and increasing, and then for her to go through all that, and then obviously I got tested a couple times, I was negative. I went and got the antibody test, I was negative, but I did have there around Thanksgiving, where I thought for sure I was getting it, and you came and gave me the IV and stuff, and within 2 days I felt right back to normal.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely beneficial to have those tests. They're the rapid antigen tests, so they're not like a PCR where it takes 3 days. It just takes 10 minutes. You just sit there and you check it. It's more beneficial for like people who train at the gym or something like that. They'll call and be like, hey, I was around, I was exposed, come over, test me, and I'll test them and get that so they know, because it's 100% accurate if you're positive. If you're negative, there is a 12% chance that it could be a false negative, but it's, from what we've seen, it's been very rare that we've seen that. But obviously it's nice to know. A lot of employers will do it for their company to be like, hey, just making sure after the weekend, come on in and get tested and make it happen.
So the COVID testing and everything that came about as a necessity within your company and everything.
Yeah, it was really important because a lot of people were asking for it, for one, and then they'll do the testing at an urgent care, but if somebody feels symptoms, they should be staying at home. Right. You shouldn't be going anywhere. So they're telling people to go out to urgent care instead of us coming safely into your home, and we wear protection, everything like that, mask, gloves, everything, to make sure they're protected. And that way we're limiting that contact that they're going to have. If they are positive, they should be tested at home. Like, there's no reason to go out and go in, even into a line. Right. Like, if you're staying in your car, I get it. It's kind of like your home, but you're still driving around. You may stop at the gas station. You may do whatever. You should be staying at home if you have those symptoms until you get tested. But with us, we come there, we do a quick one. We still tell people if they do get negative and they still have symptoms, we'll be like, hey, go do a PCR test to further confirm what's going on. But yeah, the majority of people, some people don't even have symptoms. They're just with a group, and there'll be 20 people. 2 people with symptoms are negative. 2 people without symptoms are positive. And you're just like, it's random. Wow. It just very weird. But
so beyond the COVID testing, what does Mobile IV Nurses provide?
So we do mobile IV therapy for anything, just health and wellness, for migraines, for hyperemesis for pregnant patients when they're early on in their pregnancy and later on. But being hydrated is huge with that, and they get sick. And, so we come out there and we come to you. So there's no travel fee or anything like that. And we come and hook you up, get you hooked up with vitamins, medications. And we took the naturopathic side of medicine and allopathic side, and we use both and combine it.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's very, it's beneficial to your body as a whole, just with the vitamins and everything. And then the medications, if you have any symptoms, any nausea, anti-inflammatories, Toradol we use for that. And so migraines, you don't need to go to the hospital for a migraine. Mm-hmm. You don't need to go to the ER, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people suffer from migraines. We come to you, give you the same thing except narcotics. Can't give narcotics. We can legally, but we just choose not to. Right. And you don't need narcotics when you have the right cocktail that we provide for you. So, yeah.
So as far as for like COVID specifically, what vitamins or nutrients do you think are the best? Like, what do you recommend? Like, if you were going to give somebody an IV, mm-hmm. what would you recommend?
So we do have an Immune Plus. It's our package that we give during COVID, mm-hmm. active COVID. Usually the Myers cocktail or the Myers Plus would be for afterwards when you're recovering, you need energy. You really, that's what we gave Kimberly, because it was mm-hmm. actually like during her COVID, we did the Immune Plus. And then when I came back, we did the Myers Plus. Right. So it's more of a recovery one. But the Immune Plus, we consulted with our naturopath, who's actually a pharmacist as well. And if you're not familiar with those terms, a naturopath is very natural. A pharmacist,
synthetic.
Pharmaceutical. Yeah. Like, this is complete opposites. Naturopathy came up to combat the synthetic, the chemicals, all that stuff. But he's also a realist. He's very, very intelligent. He's like, I'm not going to prescribe you and he made it as a joke, because a lot of naturopath, you get kind of the look of, oh, you're going to heal me with your root and, this leaf or whatever. He's like, I'm not going to heal you with your root if you have a bacterial infection. You need antibiotics. So he brings that allopathic medicine in there, which is all the medications and things, and he'll prescribe it to them. But then he'll also put them on a vitamin pack or whatever, or an IV. But the best that we found from him, and just our own research as a company, was vitamin C, of course, zinc, and vitamin D. So we do all three of those. Vitamin D comes as an IM injection. It can only go as a shot. So you get the IV with the vitamin C, 10 grams of that, and then 10 milligrams of zinc in there. And then you get the fluids, of course, as well. And then, the vitamin D.
So is this like a one-time thing as needed, or?
Yeah, depending on what you're going through. So like some people will do it weekly just as health and wellness. They just want to feel it. Other people will do, they'll do it during their sickness. Like if you have food poisoning is one of my favorite calls to go to when giving fluids, because when you're what I say is like your body, when you get food poisoning, it just wants to expel everything mm-hmm. out of every orifice it can.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be like, I don't want to be here anymore. So it just drains you, and your stomach is kind of like a sponge. So if it's all dried up and everything, it's kind of like that sponge on the counter that's not necessarily all the way dried up, but it's kind of in that middle stage. And then when we get there, most of the time the patients will be, hunched over, and they'll be bent over, and they're just like, oh my goodness, like they can't move. And you get the IV started, and probably 10, 15 minutes later, they're sitting back up and just kind of like, you can tell that they're just like getting that hydration and the things that they need, because you can't drink water. You'll vomit it back up. Yeah. You'll, expel all that. So, the food poisoning, that's where you get it. It helps you out, and then a couple days later, or even the next day, we can come back out and really rehydrate you, because we can only go a certain amount. We're not going to overload anybody and cause any problems. We take the safer approach. So some people just during the sickness, they'll do it a couple times, but usually it's like just as needed. You're run down, you just need to pick me up, you need a boost, and we'll come out.
Is there like any sort of like, I get maybe not a restriction, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but like, would you recommend only a certain amount of times a week to get an IV? Not like an everyday thing necessarily, but maybe like twice a week as opposed to every day would be better for you.
Yeah, definitely. We limit 3 times a week is what we do. But if there's a special circumstance or a patient that needs more, or they're doing an NAD plus treatment, which is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. It's a coenzyme that's amazing for your system, and it's just the life of all cells. If you don't have NAD in your cells, you're dead. You're essentially, and it's a energy source for every cell in your body. So we do those NAD treatments, and sometimes I can do it for detoxing, for anxiety, for stress, for a bunch of things, overall health and wellness. It's anti-aging, but you can't claim anti-aging because people will believe anything, and but it is called an anti-aging
properties
yes.
of
it can repair DNA, so it's a very, very strong and powerful coenzyme. But with that comes we should do that on your show. Give you guys some NAD and feel that.
Yeah,
because Chris has had it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would have been great to do like on camera, but for sure that shit is a rush.
It's good,
Whoa,
but like
rush.
that stuff is very good, and you can do that 14 days in a row. So we limit the bag, how much fluid we give, or we'll do an IM injection of the NAD plus. But yeah, normally 3 days a week. But yeah.
Now on the NAD plus, I remember you telling because that stuff. You can feel that, whenever you're getting that done, you can feel that, cells. So, I mean, it's kind of like you were saying, on its way in, it took it a few seconds, not even that long, but as it starts pumping through, literally as it starts pumping through, you feel it.
It's definitely arterial. So once it goes through your heart and starts pumping out, then your whole body gets it. You get a diaphragmatic pressure. You feel almost like the back of your neck starts tingling a little bit, because niacin, nicotinamide, is B3, and B3 is in no explode, things like that, where you get the pre-workout and you get that tingly sensation. That's the niacin going through your system. It gives you kind of a flush. So it feels like that, but it's a lot more intense. So I've done different tests where I've done it a high dose IM injection. Not too bad, but I've done it as a push into the line. That was terrible. Dr. Ben Greenfield, I think it was doctor. I don't know. He might not be a doctor, but Ben Greenfield is a huge NAD plus proponent. He's been on Joe Rogan a few times, but he did it on YouTube, and I'm like, I can do it. And he looked like he was he'd catch on fire. He just was yelling and screaming. It was pretty crazy.
And you did that?
I did that, and it sucked. It was very, very strong, but it was less. It wasn't as long lasting. It was quick because I was just doing that instead of dripping through a whole bag. And then the other way that I've done it is a gram of NAD in a 1,000 cc bag with a 14 gauge needle, which is a straw. So it can empty the bag in about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So an entire bag would go through. And like you were saying, it's arterial. So when it started going, I didn't really feel it. And then it's going through, and then it pumped out of my heart, and it pumped to the rest of my body. And then I felt like I was going to die. And I know that sounds extreme, but the way that my body felt, of course, I'm not going to. It can't kill you. It's very, very good for you. But doing it that intense amount, we were kind of testing it. I had nurses nearby and medics, and we were doing an NAD party for our company, and just everybody was feeling it when we were first doing it. So I'm like, I'm going to test this and see how strong it is. And it felt like my whole body was just going to cave in. So I had to turn it off and then waited, and it took a little bit longer to get the bag in, but it's intense.
That's hardcore, man.
We'll do it on you that, B, with a 14 gauge and a gram. And
I'll take
a
straight shot of it.
Just give it to them the most hardcore way possible.
Yeah.
Are there different benefits for the different methods of applying it?
No, it's so they've done a bunch of studies on
just
on
the feel, man.
Different.
If you want to take the pain or not, huh?
How cool are you? Basically,
it's less intense as an IM
you ain't
injection,
no bitch, are you?
But
B?
the IV is, you just feel it. So it almost. I like it because you feel it. You know it's doing something. Like I'm a very realist. I'm a big time realist. even when I started doing the vitamin IVs, I'm like, this is just a placebo effect. Like, come on. Like, the fluids are going to help you no matter what. We all know that. Hydration, everybody's like pretty much dehydrated as humans. But then the vitamins, I'm like, that's fake. You know, I'm a firefighter. That like I really look at stuff and I'm like, whatever. I've seen so many fake things happen, placebo effects. You know, I've seen people, this is totally wrong, but they'd push like normal saline in an injection for a patient, say that it's morphine, and they'd be like, so like, I feel warm all over, and they're like, yeah,
hit me
it's
again,
good, right? And it's like it wasn't morphine, but their minds played that trick on you, and your mind is such a powerful thing. So I'm like, placebo effect. It's not a placebo effect. Yeah, I've done it, and I know I'm biased and speaking from a business perspective as well, but it really does work, and it helps, and the things that we do provide is real. And but
so how long do you benefit? Does a person benefit from an NAD treatment? Yeah,
it's different with everybody, but usually it's you're feeling crappy, and then you get the IV, you feel better. If you don't feel better, it's either you need more or it's just you were that sick, but it's going to benefit your body no matter what. But you feel it immediately. You feel it pretty quick. Most of the time it's one and done. It's like you feel good, and then it brings you back up. If you maintain your hydration levels, drink a Pedialyte once a week, like that helps a ton. And I will tell people that over and over again, even though it could take away business from us. I'm like, it's the safer route, and it's a better route. We're there to help, but not to have people spend more money for something that they can get for $3 at Fry's. Right. And the Kroger brand at Fry's, it's good. It doesn't taste crappy. It's sweet, but it's not too sweet. Yeah. Back in the day, the Pedialyte was terrible, salty, and just tasted like you were drinking normal saline. It was gross. But
so it's just about getting those electrolytes back into your body.
Electrolytes, magnesium. Magnesium's huge, especially for like migraines. It's a vasodilator. It totally helps with migraines. We try and do the safest route with migraines because that's one of our biggest calls that we get, because people don't want to go to the hospital anymore, and we can fix migraines. And if you get the right stuff, you feel better. So it takes that migraine away.
Are all migraines attributed to the same factors? Or?
No. Oh, okay. And there's so many different factors, but we found that as long as we take the safer approach, because somebody having a major headache, they've never had it before, it's new, they're high blood pressure. That's why we do vitals and make sure that they're okay. If they have high blood pressure and a major headache, then we're not treating. We can't treat that. That's an emergency technically, and you need to go to the hospital to get checked out.
Now, is that because of high blood pressure and headache like in correlation together? Is that?
Yeah, it could be signs of a I shouldn't say like for everything, but we take the safer approach. You're most likely not having a stroke, but it could be a sign of a stroke, a hemorrhagic stroke, or anything like that, a clot in the brain causing that, and then your blood pressure is elevated. But so we never want to push the limits with that. But a normal tension migraine, a migraine that's lasting for days, they know that it comes. Like some of our patients, they will know that their migraine is coming, and they'll call the day before and be like, hey, tomorrow I need you at my house at 10 a.m. And we'll be like, all right, cool, got you. And they just know, and they'll get the IV. Sometimes they'll go from like a 9 out of 10 of pain, like they can't. You'll walk in and they'll be covering up. We wear headlamps at times for those patients, so we don't have to turn the light on. We can still get the IV, and they'll just be like in pain, and it'll drop it down like a 2 or a 3. And that's such a huge relief, because you can't take everything away. Sometimes it's got to take a little bit of time, but if you don't do anything, it's going to last days and debilitating.
I get migraines too. And like you were saying, there are times I'll feel it creeping up the back of my neck, and it'll sit basically right there at the base of the skull.
Yeah.
And it'll be like that for like 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours, and then it just full blown.
It's terrible.
And it just, like you said, when I get mine, basically the best thing for me is just cover my face with like a cold cover, a cold press of some sort, and then darkness, you know what I mean? And shut the fuck up, kids. But you know how that goes, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's hard enough in itself, but So that's, you said magnesium?
Yeah, magnesium. So we do magnesium. The reason being is it, like I said, it's a vasodilator. It definitely vasodilates the blood vessels, and that's what's causing that migraine. Some people have cluster migraines, and it opens that up, and then it just flows freely. Sometimes it's due to dehydration as well. So obviously the bag, but then we do have Toradol. If it's a little bit worse, it's an anti-inflammatory. That helps. It's non-narcotic. And then if that doesn't work, we can go to Benadryl, and Benadryl will make you a little tired, a little bit drowsy, but as long as you're staying home, things like that, you got somebody to drive you if you need to go anywhere, we give that, and then they can either sleep, they can get their rest back, and then they wake up and they feel fine. But yeah.
So is there any advantage to people taking these treatments intravenously versus taking a zinc pill?
Your body, there's so many studies out there, but about 60 to 70% you absorb. Some studies say 50% you absorb orally. When you do it intravenously, it's 100%. So
oh, really?
You do absorb it. It goes through
it's going
all
through
of your
the
blood
bloodstream.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Organs, everything. It's going through everything. So it is more beneficial for that boost, but I will always tell people supplement orally afterwards. So you take your oral supplements after you get this, it brings your levels up, and then you can maintain, like B12, for instance, vitamin D you can take orally, and it's a whole lot cheaper, and you can just make it happen by oral supplementation. But with the IV, it brings your levels up quick. So it's kind of cool. It does assist in that, and then you can just maintain, but nobody wants to take vitamins, so they'll just do weekly IVs with us, which
fuck those pills.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, I try to stay. I don't do it every day, but usually 3 to 4 days a week I'm on my vitamins, and it's ABCDs.
Flintstone?
Yeah, or no, yeah. Still, man, Flintstones kids, we
Flintstone
keep it
vitamins for
strong and growing. Remember those commercials?
I do.
But no, I do my ABCs, A, B, C, and D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D. I don't think I do B, but I do those three.
There's a B complex out there that you can take that has, B1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. I don't know if it has 4 in there, but and then B9 and B12. Like all those are good. They're good for
B12
everything.
That's
immune, right? Immunity.
It's energy,
and
it's really good for your red blood cells as well. But B12 is just good overall health, as well. But it is like the energy, it helps with that, and it's in Red Bull and stuff like that. We have taurine as well, which is in Red Bull, but it's more of it helps with energy. It helps with long-term energy though. It's the reason why you don't get you still get jittery with any drink like that, any energy drink, but taurine actually lowers it down a little bit, and it's a more stable, calming type energy, even though that sounds like an oxymoron.
Gives you wings.
Yeah, it does.
Gives you wings. That's all that matters. What do you think, like, I was just wondering, do you think you could do like a good, some sort of a tincture or something in an IV?
What do you mean?
Like maybe not like a CBD IV.
Oh no, they have THC.
Oh really?
They do.
Yeah, they have THC
CBD
IVs.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot more tests with it. Obviously, with the whole, marijuana thing, it's still controversial.
That thing.
So we wouldn't really dabble in that. But if there were benefits to it and people, benefited greatly from it, we'd have to look into it, because if you're not looking at that, if you're just looking at your moral beliefs or anything like that, but if it helps somebody, you got to open up that door and be willing to test it and see if it'll help people. Because if somebody's going to get helped by something that was blocked by the government that grows out of the ground, I think that's just dumb.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
100%. I agree.
I mean, if you're anybody, because I'll argue with it all day, because I was a big opponent of marijuana growing up. I was raised that it was the devil's weed. And it was so bad for you. And growing up and everything, I was just uneducated. But now looking at it, I'm like, there is literally not like if you stayed at home and did it, if you made your own decision, you go out and drive, that's your dumbass,
Right.
mistake, and that's your dumbass choice. But if you do it at home or whatever, you can't die from it. You can't overdose on it. It doesn't hurt you. I mean, yeah, there are negative effects from smoking and inhaling and eating brownies and things like that, of course. But it is, if you look at alcohol compared to that, a legal substance that we can use, and they went through prohibition, and you couldn't have alcohol or anything like that. They gave it back. It kills more people than weed,
Right.
guaranteed.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And you can get addicted to anything. I'll preface with that, but marijuana does not have addictive properties.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you have to have. You can go through withdrawals with marijuana, but it's very rare.
And minor too.
Especially, very minor compared to alcohol withdrawal syndromes where you're going into, into seizures and all this stuff, and you have to have the drink to get rid of the shakes. Weed doesn't make you shake. Weed makes you eat a lot of food.
And go to sleep.
It slows down time. What's the most valuable thing in the world? Time. And what does weed do?
Slows
it
shit
down. It gives you more time.
Man, I tell you, that's one of those things I like training, you know what I mean? And going in on a nice little zone and training, and it does it.
Focus.
It helps me a lot with jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to lie, man.
I believe it.
I love it. That's one of my favorites,
I believe it. It can't help you if you're a 6-year blue belt, though, and going on 7.
Hey, I'm right there with you, man.
Whatever, dude. You just said earlier, you're the guy that comes in. You can show up a couple weeks every 3 months. You get that stripe and you're out.
Yeah.
And then you just come back. You wrist lock a couple kids. You get the next stripe.
Slowly get up.
Who
there.
can I wrist lock today? Well, I need to target a brown belt.
I'm gonna get my 5th stripe on my blue belt just because
it's gonna happen.
I did
right?
see a guy at a tournament. He was a purple belt with 6 stripes.
Nice.
It
Yeah.
was very weird. I didn't understand that. I'm like, what does this mean?
Well, we had a 5-stripe blue belt. Annie was a 5-stripe blue belt
For a long time.
For a long time. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be the first.
That
you
is
know?
true. That is true.
So what about stem cell treatment?
Yeah, that's where I was going to get to.
And we don't do the stem cells, but we did back with another company that I was with. It was amniotic allograf, which is pretty cool stuff. One of the people that we work with, CSQ Bio, she's Alyssa. They offer that for like, if you have skin problems, I don't want to say
Eczema?
gangrene, something from gangrene, like serious like necrosis of your
wow.
skin,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and like burns and things like that. You'll put that amniotic allograf on it, and it's basically the amniotic allograf is from the tissue of the amniotic fluid.
Yeah, the
it's
amniotic
like the
sac,
amniotic,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that it's just brand
Placenta, basically.
new stem cells.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they can't classify them as stem cells, but they're very similar to them, and they'll put that on there, and it'll just be hyper healing.
Oh, wow.
Because it's so much better. And then some people do it as an IV. Some people do it into joints. Like my father-in-law, he's 75 now, or 74. Sorry. He ain't watching.
I was gonna say he's gonna see this.
He won't.
That's it.
They don't
Good
have
chance he'll see it.
Yeah, I mean,
But he had knee problems, both knees. I'd go over and drain his knee, and I'd literally stick a big needle in it. I'd withdraw the fluid and then drain it out, and I'd do a few. And then I got to the point where I just stick the needle in and unscrew the hub and just hold it secure and just let it drain into a cup. It was so bad. And his knee would lock up. His whole leg would be straight when he'd be walking. His other knee was messed up because he was only using that knee to walk.
Yeah.
And he did an injection in each knee. And his right knee, they said his cartilage, it was all the way down to the bone. So it was bone on bone right there. And that's why it was causing that synovial fluid to build up. And he got the injection, and then he hasn't had knee problems since. And
Are you serious?
This is 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible stuff. But obviously, like
No more draining, huh?
No more drain. I haven't drained him since. And I'm like, that's incredible, because I would do that weekly. I'd come over, stick a big old needle in the back of his leg and drain it out.
Shit.
But
why
I
is
felt
there
bad.
such delay in the U.S. to allow that?
I think it's a lot of people. So these aren't necessarily stem cells, but I do see the problem. I mean, me personally, everybody has their own moral beliefs, but the big thing about it was they were selling babies to get the stem cells.
Were
That
they
was a
really?
big thing. I mean, that's what they say, but I am not naive. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, anything like that, but I'm not naive to the fact that money and business and any way to make money is a huge thing.
Well, I mean,
but that was Bush's era. That was a long time ago when it was Bush, and it was a big fight on that because of the abortion and everything like that. But who knows if it was real or not? But I would, if I didn't have that belief or whatever about killing babies for profit like that, I would be like, yeah, you can't really do that.
I heard that they were sourcing it from umbilical cords.
Yeah, if that's a big one. Like we did that. We did that for our first daughter. We're like, you know what? If
did you eat it?
We did the placenta. No, we didn't barbecue that up in there and put it in pills or anything like that. But the umbilical cord, we took the cord blood and we have it frozen somewhere. It's, I don't know.
Made a necklace.
It was kind of the last minute thing that I'm like, you know what? We just gotta do it. I'd hate myself if cancer runs high in my family, and I'm like, if my other daughter has a 75%, I think it's 75 if it's hers, that it would like literally cure the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had cancer, they'd just inject her with that, and you'd be good. My wife and I believe it's 50% chance that it could take it away, and then for her, if Skylie, my daughter, had it, then it would be like a higher percentage as well. So whatever they say, it got us.
Yeah.
It was our first kid. We're like, you know what? Just do it once.
Fucking do it.
See if it happens.
Right.
That way, no problem.
Yeah.
But they were actually, if it's true, which who the heck knows, if they were doing it that way, I see why the outrage happened and they were so against it, because there are so many different beliefs. And you want to talk about that type of belief. That's like my personal opinion on abortion.
Oh boy.
If people want to do that,
that's a rabbit hole right there.
Ready? This is my thing. And I'm anybody can have their opinion about anything. But if you say that it's a bundle of cells or whatever, when I've held a 22-week-old baby in my hand, that was a baby.
Yeah.
But if you're okay with that, then I can respect your decision on being like, yeah, abortion is going to kill a baby. If you can say that, I am fine with that. That is fine. If you believe that, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But if you say it's not a living thing, until you've held that and you've seen a baby like that breathing, trying to breathe, dying, that's a little bit different. Once I got to that, I'm like, and I'm like, if sorry to be so morbid.
No, you're good.
But at that point, like, I don't know when the cutoff is, because we take birth control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people say that contraceptives are like abortion. You're stopping God's creation. You know, there's a little craziness out there.
Right.
But I don't know where that point is. Some people say heartbeat. I saw my daughter's heartbeat, and I'm like, that's freaking amazing. And how could somebody ever do that to their person coming out? I know there's so many situations, and I do feel for those situations. But when you're irresponsible about it and you're on your 8th, you gotta make the decision.
There's a difference.
Of course. So that's why I'm like, I'm open. Everybody has their opinion. I got my opinion, but
have you looked into? There's other countries like Matt Hughes just went to South America and got Regenicaine.
He got who?
Matt Hughes.
What do you do? Oh, with the stem cells?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He got and
no, I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing benefits that I don't know why, but conspiracy theorists, all the pharmaceutical companies, they don't want you to be healed. Why would they want you to be healed? They want you to keep taking their drugs, and then there are other drugs to combat those drugs that you got.
Right.
You take Vicodin, you got to take a stool softener.
Well, and that's, touching on that, right? You go stem cells, even stuff like CRISPR. or like the blood platelet therapy and stuff like blood spinning and stuff like that. You know, like that was one thing
PRP.
Kobe.
Yeah.
And that was one thing Kobe would do. And in the off season, he would go to Europe and get the blood spinning, and then they re-inject it. You know what I mean?
You know what a blood boy is?
Elaborate. Let's go.
You know what? So they have these things that they'll have like a young human, of course.
The sacrifice,
like a male,
a blood harvester, pretty much.
They basically sit there next to him, and it's in a show. I can't think of the show. Silicon Valley.
Okay.
So it's in Silicon Valley where they do this, but this is an actual thing. They'll take the blood of, you can donate blood weekly or whatever monthly. They'll take the blood and just transfuse it directly into the older person. So they get the young blood in their system.
I've heard about this is part of the Hollywood elites, part of the futuristic vampires.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's all goes into that. I have heard of that. Now I hadn't heard of it pronounced as a blood boy, but once you started talking about it,
and they don't kill them. They pay them a lot of money. They're healthy. They have no health problems. They
give me blood.
Well. Yeah, they're clean and they want clean early blood, and they pay them a ton of money.
I can't wait to be rich enough to have my own blood boy.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
That blood boy, in Silicon Valley, the dude was supposed to never drink, never smoke weed, and he gets one of the guys goes over there and he's like has delivery and it's all weed and all kinds of crap in the pantries. He's living like a freaking college student,
right?
But he's getting paid a ton of money to do that. But
just to give blood,
that's crazy
to somebody else. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like, because obviously with stem cells and stuff, so much can be done.
Yeah.
And it is, we're at this hurdle, where the advancement of medicine can only go so far without, like you were saying earlier, without big pharma companies getting involved. Yep. And it just makes it hard for things like this where we could have even further advancements in technology, or not even technology, but the ability where, like, you're offering a service with your business. Mobile IV Nurses offers a service to these people, right?
Yeah.
It would be nice to where something like this would be an everyday use thing for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And then you would have better technologies or better things like stem cells or blood spinning, whatever it might be. Those are the things that could eventually become a standard practice.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
as a whole, evolve our medicine, evolve our health consciousness, and evolve overall well-being for everybody.
Definitely.
But we get stuck behind this wall, right?
Political nonsense.
Yeah, it's
people
crazy.
should be able to, and to go back to the abortion thing, people should be able to do what they want with their bodies. But if that was my kid in there, I should have partly say.
Right.
Everybody tons of people will fight that and be like, it's not you. You let me get in you. And we took that risk. I'm joking. I risk like kids. Don't do that. That's my sin.
Right.
But, doing that, like, if I had gotten somebody pregnant, we took that risk. We took that leap. If you're taking that risk or whatever, that's when I think that it has to be between both of you, because I know it's going to grow inside of them. Maybe they can find out a way to, test tube baby outside. I mean, technology's got to be there. They got to be able to do that, where they're like, oh, well, you don't want it? We'll just go in there and grab it. It's got a heartbeat. You just put it in this little test tube and then it can grow.
They can grow like a new ear from skin and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's crazy.
Why not just make babies like that?
And then you pay me alimony.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there
exactly.
I thought there was like a book or something that's like that, basically like a futuristic, where at some point, nobody's able to have kids, and there's a dedicated group of breeders.
That's Idiocracy. That's a movie.
Yeah. Was it Idiocracy?
No. It was basically all the smart people were being for years.
No. Yeah, I know the movie, but
I need to remake that movie with better actors.
Great.
Better. I mean, I like Luke Wilson, but they need to make it like a better done movie, like a real movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it went under the radar considering
Yeah,
when it got put out, and it was Matt Judge too, right?
Yeah,
Or Mike
yeah.
Judge, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
Mike
crazy.
Judge.
You know, you think about all the stuff that Mike Judge has done,
Mm-hmm.
and that movie was so ahead of its time now, especially, right? But
Yep.
low key, so good, and it wasn't even like a thing until well after it was actually put out. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like I didn't see it till a couple years after it came out. And it's funny now because even the first time I saw it, it's probably been, it had been years. But really in the last couple years is when it's kind of picked up that steam of like, holy shit, this is like kind of real, right?
It's real life.
But I mean, dude, if The Simpsons can tell the future, why can't a fucking movie?
Dude. They are premonition after premonition.
Knocking it out the park,
Dude,
man.
all the fucking time, man. All the fucking time.
It's creepy. We're in a simulation.
All right.
I've come to terms
The
with
more
that.
and more like I read stuff and look into stuff, and I've been in this, I've talked about it with you multiple times, but I've been in this like cycle of like information gathering, just wanting to gather more information, right? Of whatever subject I can. But it is crazy because it's along with that, you start thinking, and it's like, if you really take time to observe outside your own personal bubble and you see things like,
Yep.
the way everybody moves and operates, it's it seems like it could be a simulation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everybody's kind of like almost predestined to do their thing. We go to work, we come home, we're conditioned to immediately when we come home, we go into this routine, we do this every day.
Yep.
And you fall into that every day. And then you see it with like media, right? You hear one opinion get pushed, and then 2 people say that, and then 3 people say that. And before you know it, that's the overall.
That's what
it
it is.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I had mentioned before, like, way back when, towards the beginning of all the pandemic and shit, or even when like all the black guys were getting shot for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like talking about the idea of like cops, even though they're not intentionally wanting to shoot these people, like the idea of that happening so much around us as a whole, it's in your head.
Yeah, well, it's all over the media.
Yeah, and so even though you're like, yeah, you consciously pulled the trigger, but at some point this information is just being fed to you, and so it's still in your head, in the back of your head somewhere. You know what I mean? Even you may not consciously be thinking about it, but it's consciously on your mind somewhere. And it's with any media subject. You know what I mean? It gets fed to us. Like look at Trump, right? Like look over the 4 years. We're told Trump is evil, Trump is evil, Trump is bad, Trump is like Hitler, Trump is a Nazi, blah blah blah. Okay, so one side can say that, but the second another side says something like, well, I feel like the Jew that's getting persecuted, then all of a sudden it's like, you can't say that.
Yeah.
But it's okay for you to tell somebody else that this guy's like Hitler.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to support Trump. I'm not trying to not support anybody.
I gotcha.
It's
I'm
just
the same way, but
it's funny. You
like
know
what
I mean?
he did. So this is where I get to with that whole thing, and with how he spoke and what he said, and he said mean things. I am not pro-Trump. I'm not anti-Trump. I thought he was dumb. The things that he said was very dumb at times. He sounds dumb when he talks. But I will say that he wasn't that bad to where he caused all this ruckus.
Right.
Words are powerful. But if somebody comes to me and says, look what he caused, and I'm like, did you go out and go loot or anything like that? Did you go out and get pissed off? Did you go to the Capitol? No. So you're more intelligent than those people that couldn't say no. Those are dumb people making those dumb decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because somebody dumb says something doesn't mean you have to do it.
Right.
And you make that decision. And if you say that you wouldn't do it, then you have that conscious decision. Just because people are doing that doesn't mean that you're like higher than them, or you're more intelligent than them, that you didn't go to the Capitol or you didn't do all these things because of what he said. People make decisions on their own. And anything that he entices or incites violence, whatever, it can do that. And words are powerful. I'm not naive to that. But people do make their own decisions, and they're dumb about it.
Right.
And further into that, even like I dealt like with me personally, I dealt with my mom on this a lot, where like she hated Trump with a passion to where it was like, and I know she wasn't the only one for sure, and she definitely wasn't the worst either, but you know, she would like wake up and it would be on her mind, or you know, I'd talk to her and she'd be like, God, he makes my life so horrible, or he ruins my day just thinking of, you know what I mean? And I'm like, Mom, like, I fucking think he's an idiot too, but like it's
can't ruin your day.
Yeah, don't let it affect you. Don't let him live in your head
suck.
rent free. You know what I mean?
Suck.
Right.
But that's the same on both sides. The idiots were the ones that fucking heard his words and said, "Oh, we have to be insurrections." You know what I mean? Like, we have to be an insurrectionist. Let's go do this. Those idiots, they're not far off from the far other side that sat there and compared him to Hitler, or sat there and every day said how much he ruined my life. You know what I mean? Like, and exactly, that's, you know,
it's a weird world we live in.
We can't say the wrong pronouns right now, or we'll get canceled. But they can call somebody, a guy that's the president, they can call him Hitler, and that's totally justified because they don't like the way he treats their feelings.
You know what? You know what's the worst right now, or who's suffering the worst about Trump leaving office? If he's not being in there now,
Trump.
You know who's losing the most?
Who's that?
The freaking media.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Are losing tons.
So
of
quiet
money now. It's quiet, and it used to be like the news used to be on at 2 times a day for the most part, 3 times sometimes, and now it's all day long.
Yeah,
all freaking day, and they just make stuff up, or they just reiterate something, or they just keep on. They cause something, and it's just dumb.
It's all
I don't
boring
have
Joe,
TV
man.
anymore. I stay away from it. I'm like, look, I'll get my news, you know, on Wikipedia because that's fact. Just kidding.
It's fucking.
That's a reliable source,
right? That's the reliable source, right?
I bet a guy at work. I'm like, yeah, you can. He's like, oh yeah, I saw it on Wikipedia. I'm like, yeah, I can write on Wikipedia.
No
and he's
shit.
like, no, you can't.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you can.
Yeah, I can. I can't write on like official people like Rosa Parks. I can't write something on there. Donald Trump's page, I can't write something on there. But my buddy Jeff Bianchi, who is a professional baseball player, I could because he wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
So I'd write on there, and I showed him, and I'm like, oh yeah, check it out. I'll put that I'm his best friend. And I put it on his profile that Jonny Weber is Jeff Bianchi's best friend.
Right.
And then it showed up, and I'm like, check it out, bruh. And he's like, oh shoot.
Well, and how many times you see like with like sports teams that like after they get their asses kicked by a team, one of the fans gets on there and puts like owned by, and they put the other team, you know what I mean? So like, of course, you know, like that shit happens. You know what's funny too is like go along. What fuck, man? I don't want to get into all this bullshit, all this fake news shit. We could start talking about this for hours, dude. You know what I mean? But it's funny, dude. It's crazy the amount of media that gets misleading, right? And it seems like all of it now, on one side or the other, is intended to be misleading in some form.
Yeah,
you know,
it's because it's just sides.
Yeah,
and it
feeds to the side that it's portraying.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll say the same thing. Like my family was a little bit different with Trump. They were supportive. They really wanted him. They thought that everything was going to go to crap if Trump wasn't in office, and he's amazing. It doesn't really matter. Like, you arguing with my other family member and destroying that relationship is not worth it.
Right.
Over a politician who doesn't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
At all. They give a shit about them, and that's it.
Well, it's the system that's broken.
Oh, of course it is. And there's no going back to it. Right. You can't change it right now. You know what happened at the Capitol? I would never want something like that to happen ever.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in the United States, and a lot of crazy people.
They changed their tune real quick when it happened at the Capitol, but when it happened in Seattle, nobody gave a damn.
No,
they fucking let them take over the whole city.
Yeah, Portland too.
Well, and the same thing, right? Depending on the side, whenever they take over, whenever they create Chaz, a certain whole side says, well, this is the utopia that we're looking for. This is what it should be. You
We're
should.
putting up
Where are the
walls.
cops, though?
Yeah, you
Where are
know?
the cops?
And then so what do? Like somebody's walking around filming, he
Yeah.
gets fucking beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody gets shot and killed in there, and they won't let paramedics in to come help those people. So what exactly your ultimate utopia was? The same thing that you're railing against in essence, you know what I mean? It just it doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'm not a huge proponent of government or anything like that, but it serves a purpose when it's done right.
Yeah.
But when it's not done right, it's a mess.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so fucking did you buy any GameStop stock?
No, I didn't. And I did have 500,000 Doge.
Yeah.
But I freaking sold it earlier, but that was fun. That would have gone up really good.
My
And I
God,
love
man.
that coin because that crypto is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally nothing, but it's awesome.
Well, and how long have we talked about Doge, man?
Man,
I mean,
Elon,
we were talking about Doge
Yeah.
back in 2017 about how
Yeah.
silly it was.
and
how silly
Elon,
were we,
Elon
dude?
says that. I'm like,
Jesus.
dude, Elon, put out a post for Axion. Come on.
Just one Axiom
Just
post.
one. Or Connect.
Yeah,
Either one.
yeah. Connect
Make it
Financial
happen.
could be all right too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this has been lately watching the stock market, watching everything that's going on with that. That's been crazy. This whole new idea of like the meme stocks, you know, and like just this generation of like Wall Street bets, you know, trying to take it to the market.
That's scary.
It's
That's
scary.
because you can manipulate and it shows right there.
Yeah.
And how far off is that from what they rail against in crypto?
Oh,
It's
all
the
the
exact
time.
same
It's the
fucking
exact
thing.
same thing.
Same fucking
you and I
thing.
could have changed up the course of we thought about it.
And we talked about it
because
with
we were like
with TRX.
you're like you
know?
could make that happen. You could drop it and then
We've talked several times about either controlling markets with coin value or coin share, basically. And then we also talked, remember, in the past when Tron started doing where you could create your own coin.
yeah,
I mean, you could.
I created two.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And like literally, you could create a coin. You could create a supply count for it.
And just put it out there, and people bought it.
And people, yeah.
Oh,
People
really?
bought it. It wasn't a ton. I haven't checked in probably a year, but I made some money off of it, and I'm like, it was TRX worldwide. And something else, and
Boats and hoes.
I literally like to show how weird it was. I was showing people at work, like I had different addresses and different books, and I was like, watch, I'll buy all of this, but it's mine, so it doesn't affect me, and then I'll buy it back or buy it from this one, and then two different addresses buying from one, and it was just buying it and showing activity. And I'm like, this is so dumb.
You're
it's
just
such a
creating
scam.
fake
There's so
volume.
many scams. So
Yeah.
it's no longer, of course, but well, it's there, but it's not out there.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy that you can just create something like that. But it's also everybody's right. Like that's what I don't get as well. You can do what you want, and what I was talking about earlier with your body. You should be able to treat yourself any way you want. It's your decision.
Right.
Nobody should have a say over you at all. Same thing with vaccines and all that stuff. You should do what you want. If you don't want to do it, of course, you want to protect everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to, I get it. You're trusting somebody, putting something into your body. You should be able to choose what you do to your body.
Yeah. Speaking of putting things in your
And money.
body, man. You see what happened to Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
Because he got pins in his body now, you know.
Right.
That's a bad day. That's a bad day.
That's a good. I call that a segue.
So did they say what caused it or anything like that?
There was no influence.
No charges.
No charges.
nothing,
I saw
no-
that.
All they said was that he was at a hotel
In a hurry.
In a hurry, seemed aggravated, and then just ended up in the
Oh,
accident.
jeez.
He's trying to J his D while driving.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't paying attention. You know, it happens.
Is mad.
Tiger Woods, y'all. I got to pull out the 3-iron. He almost became Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. He would have gotten his black belt. His
Yeah.
professor said he would have gotten his black belt. He was a brown belt
Mm-hmm.
when he died, and he was legit. They said he was legit. He'd roll with people.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ashton Kutcher does or not, but
No,
I know
but-
that he's a purple belt. But I think he only
No, he's a
does
brown belt. And that
He's a brown belt
motherfucker-
now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, dude, that dude's lanky.
Well, see, if you would have
Be a
listened
good
to
role.
previous episodes of Tomato Cans, you would have known that I have already called him out. That's my match. One of these
Ashton.
days, yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Your
good.
wife
Do it
ain't
for
hot
charity.
and your
Come on.
jujitsu sucks, Ashton Kutcher.
Right.
I beg to
Let's
differ.
go.
She's hot.
Oh my God. Yeah, shut up. She used to be until Ashton Kutcher tore it out. And
Married her.
yeah, exactly. Changed it all up.
For the record, I called out Beebs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He called out Bieber.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good.
You want to do a celebrity? Dude, you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the mic, man. You want to call somebody out?
Call somebody out.
Trying to
in
get a
match.
jiu-jitsu tournament going?
Who's got weak ass wrists?
How about them dainty wristers? Who's got them dainty wrists?
And I only wrist lock this way, by the way. If anybody goes with me, I only wrist lock this way. This way, I don't think it works. It doesn't work on me, so I've done it a million times, and I'm like, I'm fine.
You don't tap the pressure.
Yeah,
You
this
know?
way. I'm like, this way hurts, and I haven't tapped yet, but somebody's gonna get me in a wrist lock.
Maybe
I
you
know
could
it.
call out like Theo
People
Vaughn or
try all
something.
the time. Oh, dude, I'd roll up with Theo Vaughn all day.
Yeah, hell
That'd
yeah,
be fun.
right?
Who would I? And I don't know. What about Jamie?
Oh yeah,
Joe
Young
Rogan.
Jamie?
young Jamie.
Jamie trains.
I don't know if he does.
He
or
has
not.
direct access
I
to
was
a
gonna
black
say
belt,
you
though,
would
man.
think that he's got to have trained at some point along the
Maybe.
line, right?
Maybe.
I mean, hanging out with Rogan as long as he has.
Yeah, he's
like,
got to.
He's got to.
If he
have had
doesn't,
some
then he's
sort
not
of
a
lesson.
he's not a friend.
Yeah,
of
no
Rogan.
shit. Or Rogan ain't a friend of his.
Yeah, he must be really good at his job.
right.
You can call out Ryan Gordon, man,
Like,
for slapping
Or
Dre.
Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan. I'll call out Ryan Gordon.
Yeah, Ryan Gordon. Yeah,
whoever Ryan Gordon is.
Ryan Gordon.
I'll do Gordon Ryan.
yeah.
I'd go against Gordon Ryan.
Yeah.
He you know, obviously he'd whoop my ass, but it'd
Would
be
you
fun.
slap him? Would you
And then
slap
I'd-
him? Good.
No, I wouldn't slap him, but I'd let him slap me and do nothing.
Do nothing.
like how that.
Yeah.
You'll do fucking nothing.
Yeah, that was bad.
Damn, I can't believe that, man. That was crazy.
I did not realize how big of a slap that was.
Yeah. Huge.
That and he's still if he doesn't fight him now, if he doesn't go against him, that's gonna be really bad.
I mean,
Make
just
a deal. Make a deal. Do no gi and gi. Like if Gordon Ryan would accept that, he did the wrestling against what's his name, Pat. He did wrestling and
jujitsu.
jiu-jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrecked him in jiu-jitsu. But wrestling, he lost.
Yeah.
he lost by points by what it was. He pushed him out of the cage. Oh, I mean the mat, and it's over. Like it's done. And he's just like, ah, you got me. But that's not beating a human. That's
Yeah.
just pushing him out off the mat.
Yeah.
Like Pat, he quit. He tapped, and which is totally fine. It's against Gordon Ryan, but I just don't. Man,
Maybe they
Andre
can do
better
like
make it happen.
lapel only, no pants. And
yeah, just a little bit.
Just gi top
Change it up a
only.
bit.
Gi top only.
He just accept and get it over with, because he's always going to have that looming over his head that he never fought Gordon Ryan.
I mean, on the scoreboard right now, or in public perception, however you want to look at it, Gordon Ryan's winning.
Yeah.
Big
or
time.
has won,
Yeah.
especially now.
Big time.
I mean,
In person, he
Yeah.
did not back down whatsoever.
there was nobody.
He
in
got
between
pushed
him.
first. I
And
mean,
there was
he-
nobody in between him
Should
either.
not have done that. He slapped him twice in the face.
Mm-hmm.
A grown man slapping a grown man in the face.
Fucking. What are the five
Didn't
fingers
do
say
anything,
to the
and
face?
then went back to him while he was doing his interview and started talking more.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, come on, go home or accept the fight. You should fight on March 26th instead of Rocha.
Wagner.
Yeah.
What would you say are like the majority of the calls you guys get when you get calls?
I'd say just health and wellness, and
Yeah.
then COVID recovery right now is big because you just get so drained from COVID, and then afterwards you just need to replenish.
Yeah.
So that's a major one. But migraines, hyperemesis when you're pregnant, that's probably high on the list too.
Right.
So you have those calls.
And hangovers,
yeah. You
yeah,
have those
yeah,
calls
I was
that
gonna
are.
say you get like party calls,
Yeah.
right?
you do.
You have those calls that are clear cut, like I have a migraine, I have food poisoning, whatever. What happens when you go there and the person's just like, I feel like shit, like I don't know what's going
It's
on.
kind of so we revert back to Dr. John Myers. He had a Myers cocktail. That's when it started. It started in the military, and the dudes going out in the field will get so exhausted or they drink a ton of water. And when you drink so much water, a lot of bodybuilders and fitness competition people, they'll drink so much water, but it'll deplete you of not only the salt and everything in your system, but it'll deplete you of your vitamins, and you'll just get so much volume and everything that it'll water it down and just kind of flush it out. So when you get the vitamins back, you just feel a whole lot better. So yeah.
What all is in the Myers cocktail?
Myers cocktail, that's what we revert to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
You're good.
It's magnesium. The old version of Dr. John Myers it had calcium and potassium, but calcium can do funky things to your heart, and so can potassium. Potassium's what you can, by death, by injection, they put potassium. It kills the heart. It's vitamin K. So we stay away from that. Not that anything we wouldn't give enough to kill anybody, but we stayed away from it just because we want to take that safer approach. So we have vitamin C, vitamin B complex, which is B1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, vitamin B12, glutathione, zinc, and magnesium.
And that's the Myers cocktail.
That's the Myers cocktail.
Dang.
And it's all in one bag.
Wow.
And you get that loaded up and you just feel better. If they're just feeling like that, that's what we recommend. It's highly recommended. And we don't have, we have great reviews online. I mean, there's no way that you can have in the medical field so many good reviews without like having actual good reviews. Like you can't fake them.
Yeah.
And it's not like we've treated this many people and, there's a ton of people that are happy and no unhappy people. Right. So it doesn't,
right.
People say things and I'll be like, I understand your belief on it, but because we'll get haters all the time on Facebook. I mean, they'll say all kinds of stuff, or drink water.
Yeah.
Or don't drink alcohol. We're like, people do. That's why we call it a miscalculation of adult beverages.
Right.
Because you don't want to get hungover. You don't want to get sick. But when you're having a good time and then you get to that point, you just keep going a little bit.
Sometimes it happens.
And then the next day you feel like crap and you got a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old and you need to take care of them. So we come over and hook you up and then you're good.
So is this all out of pocket or do you guys bill insurance? Or how does that
no
work?
insurance, but we try and keep our prices as low as possible. We come to you. So that's one thing. We have highly trained people. They're either registered nurses or paramedics, and they come to you and they don't, we're very good at what we do. We recognize if, you're sick, really sick or not sick, and that we can treat. If you can't treat a person, we're not going to treat them. If there's something dangerous, if they have CHF, congestive heart failure, or chronic kidney disease, we don't treat because it's just too dangerous. It can hurt the person. So we're trying to help people. So you're paying for the service. You're paying for us to come out. You're paying for our people to come out that are very good at what they do and they care. And, insurance doesn't like what we do. They're not big fans of it. They would save a lot of money though if they did.
Right.
So we do accept health savings accounts though, and FSA cards, flex spending account. But as of right now, yeah, it's cash and debit card, credit card. They just don't like the good stuff. They want the pharmaceuticals. They want you to go to the hospital. They want you to do all that stuff.
Right.
Instead of staying at home, kicking back, watching football, and
getting a
or
drip.
whatever.
Just getting the problem taken care of.
Exactly.
It's which is
Faster,
easier,
you
right?
don't have to expose yourself to the petri dish of the hospital. I mean,
Right.
hospitals are one of the dirtiest places on earth. They're terrible. Sick people go there.
Right.
A lot of sick people and a lot of random sick people.
Yeah.
Us, when COVID started, we went to our team and we're like, hey, how do you guys feel about this? Should we shut down? Should we keep going? What do you guys think? And they were all like, yeah, let's do it. We need to be there. And the first day, there were 3 pregnant patients that were all dehydrated. And we treated them. And I'm like, we made the right decision because they shouldn't have gone to the hospital, especially back then when it first was coming out.
Right.
It was such an unknown. People didn't know what it was. It's man-made. It's whatever. It's going to kill everybody. It's fake. The China virus, all this stuff. But it turned into something that we could provide one person going into a home instead of the fire department, instead of them going to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, you're bringing your loved one with you. So same thing with the flu. When the flu happened, 2-3 years ago, our business got called from one of the hospitals, one of the triage nurses saying, "Hey, we're sending 62 people your guys' number because we can't cover it. We're too busy." And everybody in that room, if you had flu A or a certain type of flu, and then your wife didn't get sick, but then she went to the hospital with you, and that dude over there had flu B or a different type of strain, she could be protected from you, but she might not be protected from him. So you're exposing yourself and you're exposing your family members. So it's like, when we can come to you, it's like one person coming in, we're very safe, we keep our distance, we come up, we start the IV, we back out. We don't want to stay in your bubble and cause that to spread. So we've been very fortunate with our team. Some people have gotten COVID on our team, but they've all gotten it from, like, most likely, you can't obviously trace it back, but most likely because they were at the fire department or they were at the ER and they got exposed there, because when we do it, we wear full protection. So
how long does the treatment normally last?
It depends on each patient. Everybody's different. So sometimes you can have benefits that day, and then you'll be like, the next day you'll still feel good, everything like that. But for the most part, it's like, hey, get your body feeling better. It brings you back up to where you need to be, and then you can maintain yourself.
Well, what about the actual IV treatment itself? How
long does that take?
Yeah.
To do? It takes anywhere from about 35 minutes to an hour.
Oh, okay.
Depending on, the patient's health and things like that. We let gravity feed the line in. We're not concerned with one bag of fluid for, all of our patients pretty much, because they're usually safe and healthy. But if they're a little bit elderly, we'll slow it down. It'll take a little bit longer. But that's totally fine. We're there for the patient to make sure that they're healthy and safe. So we'll slow it down. But like you guys, if we did the IV, we'd probably just let it flow. If it was flowing all the way, we'd slow it down a tiny bit just to have it coming in. But your body's going to regulate that. Like, if you're not using a pressure bag to push it in, it'll just regulate, go in. Your body will intake it in, and it'll be like, all right, I needed that. So yeah.
Sweet.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man, those IVs, I tell you what, like, it kind of like you were saying with, not being a believer in it. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I'd never had it done, you know? So I kind of thought, like like everything you were saying, I thought, well, I'll just take my vitamins, I stay pretty healthy. I don't feel like I need an IV, but I tell you what, now that I've had him, man, that's one of those things where it is like the beauty of being able to do it just to get it done. I don't feel like I need to go get it done every week, but I mean, shit, the ability to be able to get it done whenever, it is nice, because it's just a nice little top off. You know what I mean? It's a top off. If you're staying on top of everything, that's great. You can incorporate this as well, whether you necessarily need to or not, and it can top it off, and it's like putting the premium fuel in. You know what I mean?
And it does. It's cool because you can kind of get it even if you're feeling fine, to just kind of like boost your immune system.
Right.
You can't really say boosting your immune system, but it's immune support. It does support it. And it will benefit you no matter what. Sometimes I'll do the IVs on myself all the time, but if I do it and I'm feeling really good and everything, I know that it's not going to be like, oh my goodness, I feel like limitless. I feel amazing. That's NAD. NAD will do that. But no, you get that and you're like, you just feel normal afterwards. You don't feel any big thing, but you know that it's going to be healthy for you. It's going to be good for you.
Right.
Nice.
Hell yeah, man.
It's good.
That's awesome. Well, fuck.
Yeah, we're over an hour.
I mean, that's hour 20 minutes already, dude.
Yeah. Talk a lot.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Don't have
that's
me again.
Good. No, we'll have you. We'd love to have you again, man.
Yeah.
I'm down.
You got to get out of here?
No, it's not too late.
No?
I was just checking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I need to piss like a motherfucker right now. So
I think it's a good time for us to take a break.
Yeah, we could take a little break. I mean, if you got to get out of here, you can get out of here. But yeah,
cool.
Again, you got a website?
mobileivnurses.com, and then Mobile IV Nurses on Instagram, Facebook, things like that. And
right.
Yeah.
Where all
time.
Are you guys available for services at?
All over the Phoenix Valley area and surrounding cities, and then also Lake Havasu Arizona, Mojave County, out there, and then Tucson, all around Tucson. We'll go to Maricopa every once in a while. It's a little bit south, but we do have other companies that we work with. There's a company, Prana IV Therapy. There's Revitalize. There's Advanced Mobile IV. We want to work with the other companies. Even Arizona IV Medics, they're massive, so they have a lot of people. So we do spread, the calls out, and if we can't get to the patient, if we're too busy or we don't have enough providers that day, we'll send them out to the other companies and get them taken care of. But if we can't get to that location, then we'll send them to other companies. Like Arizona IV Medics has some really good people up in Flagstaff, and we'll send them to them to get taken care of. So
right. And then you said as well, you've got you're affiliated, you personally, right, with a couple in other states as well.
Yeah, there's one in Colorado, Rocky Mountain IV Medics. We've been open a little over a year and a half, and then Lone Star IV Medics, which we started January 1st of this year, and that's going pretty well. We're only in Dallas, Fort Worth right now, but we'll be launching in Houston in April, and then Austin and San Antonio a little bit later on this year.
Right.
But
hell yeah, man.
Spreading.
Awesome.
So let's see. Lastly, before we get out of here, did you do a call out?
It was Jamie, but
Oh yeah,
no.
Young Jamie.
that was a cop out.
who
That wasn't a
who
call
would
out.
I?
That was a
Who
cop
would
out. Right.
Who's a blue belt or a purple belt?
Demi Lovato. No.
Damn it. I'll do that. I'll wrist logger.
Oh yeah, right. It'll be over before she knows what happened.
Joey Diaz.
Yeah, there you go.
Joey Diaz.
Get Coco.
No, I do know that Mike Chiesa, he's really good.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say no.
I
You're
saw
not
he
calling
just got
him like
his
Chiesa.
didn't he just get his purple belt not too long ago?
He's only. I don't think he's only a purple
Yeah,
belt.
he's
is he?
not,
He's
but-
not.
Izzy just got his purple belt.
Yeah.
Izzy just
Yeah,
got his
yeah.
I'll call out.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hey, I think Connor's got a purple
I'm a
belt,
four
right?
stripe. I'm right there. Yeah.
That professor called out Connor.
These
already.
dudes
Oh,
are
yeah, that's
way
true.
too
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah,
Call out
that's
Connor.
yeah. Professor called out Connor.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. That'd be fun.
I mean, I honestly, I like the way our card stacks up. We got some good
You know what?
matchups.
I'll call out freaking Jerry.
Jerry,
Yeah.
like our Jerry.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, never mind. I can't.
I mean,
Never
that's
mind.
that's not a
I thought
celebrity.
he was one. Yeah, I know. He's a celebrity to me. He looks like
Right,
Jason
he is.
Statham.
He is a superstar, man.
Yeah, he is.
The
He's a brown
transporter.
belt now, though. I can't call him out. I can call out a purple belt.
I mean,
not-
you can
not
call
brown
out
belts.
anybody you want. I'm not. Anyways.
Call out Logan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, call out our other professor.
He'd wreck me.
Here, why don't you just go ahead and
Always.
just call out Jiva for the arm collector title, right?
No, I won't do that.
Call out one of the Paul
Not
brothers.
him.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm in.
Both of them.
I'll
Same
take them in a
time.
roll. I'd go both. I'd go both. That'd be fine.
I think you got
I'd
it.
probably get beat, but it'd be fun.
I don't know,
I
man.
Now it's jiu-jitsu.
I'd go against anybody in jiu-jitsu. Easy. All day. Anybody in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Just because it's fun. And
Right.
I'd roll with anybody. I don't care how fast it was. It's fun. That's the thing about jiu-jitsu. That's why I don't care if of course it's great feeling when you do promote and you get more stripes and you move up, of course. But I do it because I love the sport of jiu-jitsu. I love the camaraderie of jiu-jitsu. Like Deboa is amazing. That place is just, people change their lives over it.
Mhm.
There's people that will stay here because of Deboa.
Right.
Like they changed the course of their life changed because of a sport and how much they love that place. It's not only the sport, it's a place and the camaraderie and the people and Andrew and Leslie and just everything about it. And I know that they know, but I don't think they truly know like how big of an impact they make on so many people's lives.
yeah.
It's hard to try to actually put into words that appreciation for what they've been able to do for, I mean, not just us sitting here, but the community as a whole, right?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's crazy. Like, I mean, even this right here, this whole thing, whatever Tomato Cans is, was, or will be,
Mm-hmm.
is all of a direct result and a direct product of Deboa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It really
like
is.
I wouldn't know, we wouldn't know any of us sitting
No.
here right now if it wasn't for the fact that we all like to get together, hug each other really closely, and sometimes tap each other.
Yeah.
You know? You know what I mean? Like, how weird is that? Like, it's
good.
It's a little erotic sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird.
you know?
It's like, especially when you first meet somebody at the gym. I'm like, hey, what's your name? And first time and meet them, and then what better way to meet them than welcome them in between your legs and wrist locking them.
Right. Especially teenagers.
That's how you become friends, close friends
for life.
But no, it's jiu-jitsu is a weird thing. It's a very strong and powerful thing, and the people and everything, and just a whole community. But I freaking love it. But I will do it forever. I just am not consistent with it because, life and business.
Man, you're a busy guy, like that, dude. You got a lot of shit.
I do make excuses too. I mean, I won't downplay it and ignore it, but there's times where I work all day and then I have time to go and I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be home with the family just because. I know it's good for me though to get out and really get that out and use that energy and stuff. But yeah.
You're a good guy, Jonny Weber.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys.
Lastly, before we get out of here, we didn't even talk about it, but I just started thinking about this. So you were a firefighter. How many years were you a firefighter?
I'm technically still a firefighter, but I have a beard going on. So I work part-time down at a bombing range down in Goldwater Range Fire Department. It's down in Gila Bend, but not much going on out there. But the F-35s come through. But including time in the military, I was a military firefighter. I've been in the fire service for 17 years.
Dang. So I got to ask, like, what was what's the craziest fire that you've been a part of?
Well, I'd say not necessarily craziest, but it was funny. One of the guys that
funny fire
it was, we knew the house, so it was good. It was like, it's an abandoned house. We knew that squatters were there at times, and the city that I worked with, and but we needed to go in. So it was this guy's first day on the job. It was his first fire, and he's like a tough guy. This guy that I'm talking about.
Do we know him?
Yeah. But I ain't saying.
Are you sure it wasn't somebody you called out already earlier?
No.
Okay.
So we get to the fire, and I'm not by any means a badass or anything like that, but the way I view fire and fires that I've gone into is that it's training. It just goes in my head that it's training. Same thing with medical. I can do any medical call because I feel like it's training. It doesn't affect me too much until later. But at the fire, we were walking up, and it was a single-story house, and it was fire coming out the door. The front door was open. It was all up in the eaves on the porch, and it was blowing, as we say. And I got the line, and one of my captains, who you guys know as well, was like, hey, I'm going to do a 360, turn off the power, things like that. He's like, go on inside. So the engineers at the truck, me and the other guy start going in, and I give him the hose, the nozzle, because it's his first fire ever. He's brand new. He's been on the job for like 2 months. And I'm like, hey, man, go in. And he looks back, and he's this tough dude. And he's like, in there? Like, his voice went all high and everything. And I'm like, and he was like scared, like, what? Because at first, as you start walking up, your first reaction is there's fire. So you want to spray it. But in a fire, if you spray the fire, you can't see. Steam smoke is way worse than the black smoke. Black smoke, you can get down low and you can look under. You can squat down usually in a fire. It'll be like probably like right here. And then you can squat down and you can see. That's why firefighters always train crawling and finding people and stuff like that. But when you go into a room, you can go into a room, and if there's a little bit of ventilation where the smoke's getting out, you can see everything. And so you search the room while the fire is going. You have your fire gear on. It's not cooking the room because there is some sort of ventilation. So you go in and you can search the room, and then you spray it, and then you can't see anything. You see nothing but white smoke if it's daytime. And even at nighttime, it's like you can't see anything. But so as we were going up, he starts spraying the eaves and like doing his little, the fire training thing. And it wasn't, like going to do anything. That doesn't help. So I'm like, go. And he's like, in there. And then we went in and we were going around, and he and what I do to conserve air is either talk to myself or I sing. And I sing when I'm having fun and I know that there's nobody in there and stuff like that, we're kicking down doors and stuff like that, fighting fire, it's fun. It's like a good time. It's like, all right, yeah. So I'm like singing songs, and we get out, and he looked at me. He's like, dude, you're freaking crazy after that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, we were in there, we couldn't see anything, and you're screaming songs in my ear and yelling and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I do that in every fire that I've been in.
Do you have a song of choice or just whatever?
No, it's whatever
Let
pops
the bodies
hit
the floor.
Whatever falls in my head. It's usually some type of reggae or something like that.
I'm every woman. My time is now.
It's definitely all kinds of different songs. I love it.
That's crazy, man.
That was it wasn't very crazy, but it was fun.
Have you ever seen any like collapse, like been in a building as it's collapsing and stuff?
We were in one at my other department that I worked for, where we went in and we were basically checking for hot spots and stuff like that, and the whole 2-story side just dropped on one of our guys.
Ooh,
but
wow.
he was okay, but he made it. He was an ogre. He was like 300 pounds, but
That's scary,
just buff
though,
dude.
huh?
But
Jeez.
yeah.
That's scary.
That's my biggest worry with that. It's like being a cop. I could never be a cop because there's so many unknowns. You know, people are unpredictable. Fires are predictable. You can predict where it's going to go. You know, the science behind it is pretty interesting, but things falling through the ceiling.
Yeah.
You don't predict that. I was in a fire actually in Surprise where they actually were cutting the roof open when I was in the room, and they didn't know I was there. But I had to communicate that I was in the room and they were cutting. They shouldn't have been cutting above me. But things were falling down on me, and I'm like, what the heck's going on?
Oh, shit.
But I came out and I'm like, okay, guys, go ahead. But that was fun.
Jesus.
But
That's fucking insane, man.
Wow.
Well, Jonny Weber, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
you
for
guys.
coming.
You
Yeah,
still got to
this-
take a leak. That was a
I,
while ago.
dude, I know, and but I had to hear the fire stories. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's so worth it. I was thinking to myself while you were talking about grabbing one of these empty cans and just go ahead, tell the story.
going.
Yeah, keep going.
Should have.
But no, man, thanks for joining us,
Yeah,
and
it's fun.
let's do this again sometime for
Appreciate
sure,
it.
man. We'll
Yeah.
we'll talk
about more fun stuff next.
Yeah.
Next time we won't
much
talk so much,
morbidity
you know, of this.
Information.
Yeah.
This overload information.
I
We'll
appreciate
talk,
it though.
We'll talk wrist locks and such. You know, maybe
Yeah,
we can
we'll
talk
do that.
about how I'm owning you in our bets, but
Oh.
that's okay. That's all right.
We'll
don't
talk
need-
about that later.
Yeah, let's later.
Been terrible.
Dude, I'm up so hard.
I should give up.
So hard.
You're gonna own all my acts.
You're not even gonna win that money back by the end of this year. Just so you know.
There's no way. It's way too far gone. What is
12
it?
cents, motherfucker.
Is it 12?
I don't know.
Is
what
it 12 or
is.
14?
14 cents.
I think it's
something like that.
14.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just
Title
baller.
fights are worth 2 cents, and I don't think I've won a single one.
Nah, and I've even given you the pick on like all but one. I
you
think.
made it happen.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Yeah.
I used to be good at that stuff, but
Yeah, you know.
We should
no
use that
research.
to our advantage in Vegas or something, man.
Dude, I'm
yeah,
Johnny,
just
who
go
you been?
against.
Yeah.
Who you going?
all right, Johnny,
Pick
who
the
you
other guy.
pick? We got the other guy. Boom.
Jake Paul or Ben Askren?
Yeah.
I'm going Jake Paul.
All right, we're gonna win.
Well, you know that
You're Ben Askren.
Yeah,
You're gonna
no.
lose.
That
No, I
means
know.
Easy's
No,
gonna
I don't
win.
know.
Yeah, right. Oh man, that's true because I got Jan in that fight too. I think
Yeah.
Blachowicz Polish power is gonna take it,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
That's
he's a
tough.
beast.
That's gonna be tough. Well, fuck, man, we got to do this again, man, for
We will.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm
for
in.
Sure.
Yep.
Make it
So
happen.
again, Mobile IV,
Mobile IV nurses.
Mobile IV
Yeah.
nurses.
Appreciate it.
What was the Colorado one?
Oh, Rocky Mountain
Rocky
IV
Mountain?
Medics and Lone Star IV Medics in Texas.
Right. So Colorado, Texas, Arizona.
Second greatest country in the world, Texas.
Yeah. Right next
But-
to. I mean, is USA even that great anymore?
I still love my country, but yeah,
No,
it's
that's
crazy.
great.
It's a weird world.
It's
weird
great.
country.
Well, all right, man. Thanks
All right, man.
again.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Be nasty as always. Good
All right,
to see
guys.
you, brother.
Yep.
Tomato cans, we out.
Peace.
Peace.